Hey guys, so I've been wanting to make this video for a while now. Basically, I want to talk about the balance in Command and Conquer Rivals. I'm feeling a little bit more confident about this, especially after watching a few tournaments. We're seeing a lot of the same commanders. We're seeing a lot of similar meta picks, and I'd like to see maybe some shakeups in the meta here with some balance changes. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I want to start off by talking about Jade. She is very safe commander. She answers a wide variety of decks, aggro, tech splash. She can be used to clear the field if you're falling behind. I think that's a fine mechanic. It can backfire just as much as it can be spectacularly awesome. The problem is the amount of pressure she can create by threatening the base. And oftentimes it creates these scenarios where the Kim Warriors will run at the base, and you'll be torn on how to answer it. You'll often just have to either concede the missile or lose your base, and it just becomes an impossible choice. And if they get the combo even once after taking a missile, you're down to like 16% base health. You're two catalyst missiles away from losing the game. There's no way you can realistically defend. A good player will stall the missile and they'll just spam catalyst missile at your base. You can either adjust the cloud damage or the catalyst missile damage. I think it should be incentivized to always get the clouds on the base. So I think you're kind of at a sweet spot with the cloud damage. If she gets off 4 clouds, you're pretty much screwed if the percent of the cloud damage is too high. So I think the best way to go about doing it is to lower the missile damage. So you can't just mindlessly spam the missile in the base. Kind of looking at the Kim Warrior health, I think you could maybe like lower it a bit, but I think a better change would maybe be to just encourage use of some of the natural counters to Kim Warrior. So some strong ones that you might see commonly right now are like Sniper, Drone Swarm, Venom. Some uncommon ones that actually are very good, but you just don't see because they don't do well. They don't perform consistently against other decks. Are Shocks, Flames, and Shatterer. At risk of returning to a Shockwave meta, I think one thing you could do is like lower their cost. Um, they actually perform quite well against rifles as it already works out, but they're very inflexible, and that inflexibility, their high cost, makes it so it's very difficult to change to a different unit type on the first missile. So ultimately, you'll end up just falling behind. They would definitely dominate a bit more in the rifle matchup. So that would be something that would probably be worth investigating a bit before making the change. Maybe you increase the speed of shockwaves. So maybe you don't open barracks. You actually um, open like wheels or dogs, and then you pop out the shockwave or the flame afterwards. And with the increased movement speed, it doesn't feel as bad to field this unit. So we see return to like the Alicia style deck, and it becomes a separate type of playstyle, right? So the problem with Shatter is it can't really hold its ground. It's not fast, so it takes forever to get to the pad, and then it's not tanky, so being really fragile, any unit can just drive up to it and then threaten it off the pad. Against all infantry options, it's actually quite strong. So I think maybe returning its speed to the prior patch, but lowering the stun to like 1/3 of what it is now, and then maybe letting it attack slightly faster, like very, very slightly. I kind of like that it attacks slowly. It gives an option to kind of uh, fight it back with missiles or jump jets. So you can kind of see like some different play styles instead of just, oh well, I have this unit in my deck and there's nothing you can do about it. Liang is strong for a number of reasons. He's a get out of jail free card, and as long as you have vision, you can just drop him next to a pad uh, and flip the pad's ownership. He rewards poor play, non-aggressive play, passive play. I think it's too easy for him to kind of affect the battlefields. Allowing this to occur in the game is a good thing because it creates those insane flip moments like, oh my god, he just flipped the pad, wow, wow. It creates an emotion, it creates a feeling, and usually that's a good thing for a game to have. I think there needs to be a little bit more counterplay. If let's say the opponent spawns the unit next to some missiles, it should instantly be punished. Oftentimes you're seeing this thing used in lower leagues to just heal units. So it's not really going to affect that. It's mostly going to affect this type of playstyle where people are running it onto the pad somewhere it doesn't belong aggressively, and there is a missile troop there, and it's effectively resetting the pad, buying another 5 seconds. The user can come back and take control of the pads or delay the game, get more econ, those things, and make it more of a choice instead of like, oh, it's always correct to use the drone to stall. Second problem with Liang is he creates this playstyle called Fortress. Basically, it's kind of a set up and forget type playstyle where once you have it established, you're not really moving your units around too much. I don't really know anyone who enjoys playing against it. It is actually quite fun to play sometimes. Maybe it's okay that it exists in the game. Maybe this philosophy changes like an overstep of what should occur or what should change in the game. Maybe its healing percent should be changed a little bit. It'll heal a high HP unit to greater effect. Beefier units like Sandstorm can often just be set up, and then because they answer a wide variety of units and they hit everything, you don't really have to do much maintenance. The high percentage heal allows it to take way more shots than it ordinarily would. It's not necessarily the worst thing, but personally, I'm not a fan of the playstyle. One of the stronger units I'd like to talk about here is Fanatics. You could tone them down just by lowering their vehicle damage. Right now, they kind of have this dynamic where because they're buffing each other and they have reasonable vehicle damage, you're actually kind of encouraged to make a lot of them. So you're seeing a lot of mindless just fanatics being thrown out there, and if they buff something, it's really good. They buff something like a tank, it's extremely good, and they just have this really good synergy between themselves. So I think just toning down their vehicle damage would probably be enough to keep them from being like this coverall answer, and I don't think you'd really have to go much further than that. Alright mates, that's going to do it for this video. If you have any thoughts you want to share, go ahead and leave them down below. I'd love to read them. I will catch you on the flip side. Take it easy. Peace.